Today, the agenda of our mentorship session, like every month we are doing it, we'll discuss today the techniques for the prelims exam. We have last 100 days for the prelims exam, exactly 98 days. So the focus for our mentorship can be prelims, but because it is mentorship, we'll discuss how to approach both prelims as well as the mains exam. So first, I would like Maulika ma'am to start the discussion.
Hello, Priyanka.
Hi, ma'am.
Good morning, everyone. With respect to GS mentorship, I hope you're all aware of the program that we were conducting. But this particular session is to make you interact, is to make you aware what exactly happens in the program. And Priyanka ma'am, being the mentor of this session, she'll guide you. She'll tell you what are all the things that we're gonna cover in this mentorship part. Now, my part is me being a faculty of geography. I would like to share some insights regarding geography and the techniques that we require, in general, to approach prelims and mains. Okay, so I'll take 15 or 10, 15 minutes of time to make you understand what are the key things or what are the key aspects that you need to require as a UPSC aspirant. Okay. Now, I have seen many toppers, Priyanka. We are all aware of that also. So, if we look at the topper strategy now, everybody says three major important things to clear prelims examination. One, they say, is the syllabus part. Okay, so everybody asks us to understand the syllabus in a right way, to understand the syllabus to its core, to destructure the syllabus and all. Number two is PYQs. Okay, because see, just imagine people, you being an examiner, how would you think? Like, let us say, I have given you a chapter of polity or economy or any particular subject of your favorite, and I ask you to design some 10 questions of that chapter. How will you design it? Let us say history ka part, Indus Valley civilization ke bare mein, I'm asking you to create some 10 questions. How would you create that? Of course, you'll be in a mindset key. The questions should be little technical. That should touch the core part of that, what do you say, unit. And it should also be little complex so that the person who is writing the examination must have the real understanding of Indus Valley civilization to answer such questions. है ना? And that way itself UPSC also thinks, so it expects you to understand the core content of the history rather than just reading them. So how will you know how UPSC is thinking? With the help of PYQs. And the third important thing what they actually say is answer writing practice. So these are the three things which everybody says, and you all must be aware of it. But what is something that you get in mentorship program is that to understand the syllabus means to destructure the syllabus, which a normal student on his own preparation cannot do it. That you will get from mentorship program. See, if you observe the geography ka syllabus, it says that salient features of world's physical geography. Okay, so there is only one single line in the syllabus, but if you destructure it, you have geomorphology, climatology, oceanography, biogeography, environment geography under that single line of the syllabus. So knowing the syllabus is somebody, everybody can do it. But if you want to destructure the syllabus, there you require a mentor. And that is the reason most of the students, like you people, will attend some coaching classes and all. But even then, in the coaching, if you look at the classes or if you look at the structures that were there in the coaching, what do you say, world, they simply rely or they actually give more importance to make you understand the content, but they fail somehow. I feel that they fail to make you understand the structure of the syllabus. Okay, let us say, if I see, even in the earlier sessions when I'm dealing geography, my focus, 90% of my focus is to deal with the content only. Okay. But over a period of time, when I look at the UPSC ka patterns and all, then I started mapping every single point that is discussed in the class with the syllabus. Like, let us say today I'm discussing geomorphology, then I make student aware that, to which part of the syllabus that it would be connected to. Now, people, please, understand this key. People who teach you, whomever is teaching to you, they're all experienced faculty and they find very less time to map the content discussed in the class with the syllabus. And that's where the gap appears, and that gap can be filled with the help of the mentorship that you take. And these days if you see, most of the toppers actually makes things happen only with the help of mentorship program. Apart from the usual what do you say classroom sessions, they definitely need someone to guide them. So destructuring the syllabus is something which happens here. Okay. And the next important thing is PYQs. See, PYQs means not simply taking the PYQs are available in the market, you'll take the question paper, you solve it. Is that the case? No, there is a strategy to understand and to pick the content from the PYQs, to understand the patterns. Let us say there are certain patterns that UPSC picks. There are certain areas which UPSC focuses upon. Like overall ka prelims ka paper mein 20 questions will be economy, 15 to 20 would be polity, 15 to 20 would be economy, environment, and then geography, etc. That is basically the PYQ plan. But within the everybody don't have the same hands over or same command over the subjects. For example, I'm more comfortable with geography. I feel little difficulty with respect to economy. Somebody else will have different priorities, and now you attending a normal coaching session and understanding the PYQs, analyzing them according to your choices would be difficult. And again, mentorship is something which helps you here again, okay, to understand the PYQs better. And also, of course, answer writing is something which happens here. So what I want to tell you is that if you also need to prepare on your own, these are the things that you need to do, but it will take huge lot of time. Okay. Why you need to work a lot when somebody else who is of a good experience is working for you to destructure the syllabus, to give you PYQ analysis, to give you answer writing sessions, etc. and all. So these are the main things that we need to know. And not only this, we also, started conducting the techniques to clear the PYQs. In the last year also, we have shared but that particular session wherein how to manage your question paper. Like वो उन 2 hours का time में कैसा manage करना है, how to pick up the questions, how to solve them. There are short questions, there are two probable or 50-50 chances ka questions, etc, etc. So such techniques were also shared in the mentorship program, which I felt ki very much essential and very much helpful for the students to clear prelims examination. Okay. So now coming to geography also, the syllabus will be vast, but destructuring the syllabus is important. PYQs will be very much helpful, but analysis of PYQs is very important, and also answer writing. Okay. So now I would like to hand over the session to Priyanka ma'am so that she'll continue with what exactly the mentorship program is going to happen.
Thank you, Maulika ma'am. Let us discuss the session, like we both discussing what generally the students will ask the doubt, so that the geographical perspectives, map pointing, etc., these kind of the things where students even ask me in the mentorship program. So let it be like we both discussing things
Yeah,
and indirectly answering everything what student
it expects.
expects. So, ma'am, I have been asked by my students that how to prepare for the map pointing. I just told them focus on what are there in the news,
Mhm.
and I told them focus on the past few years map pointing, whether it is
Mhm.
IR related or
Mhm.
geography related. places which are in the news. So is that the strategy, ma'am, geographically? Like, you're teaching geography from so many years, so I want to learn from you also.
Yeah, yeah, Priyanka, what I actually observed is that, see, let us take a Kalka newspaper, okay,
Mm.
February 13th ka newspaper. So yesterday, there was more a political news regarding Vande Mataram movement, regarding CPI, changes in economy. There
Yes.
is substantial motion ka news hai, or there was news discussing about US trade relations, etc.
Yes.
But
Yes.
also there was a news talking about different aspects or the program, related to Aravali Hills ka,
Mm, yeah.
exploration and all. They have stopped it, etc. And there is also something happening in Jammu and Kashmir region. There is something happening in the Yamuna River basin, because the, construction ka, us tarah, some waste, something is getting dumped into Yamuna River and all.
Mm.
Now, what people can do is that when they're going through the question, newspaper every day, whatever, region that is mentioned over there, try to note them. You keep a book for map pointing and all. If it is geography optional, again, you need to work little more. But for prelims
Mm.
perspective, every day, see, map pointing should be like a everyday task. It's
Yes.
not
Yes.
like a haphazard thing which you will do just before the prelims, because you cannot remember it. These are all the
You can't
facts.
do.
Priyanka. Content can be easily remembered if you are learning it just before examination, but
Mm.
facts is difficult task. So facts needs consistency. Facts needs everyday ka updation. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
For example, if there is something like last year, there is Choshat Yogini temple which was in news, and it has declared as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It was in Hirapur, Orissa. Okay, so instead of looking at that news as something which is related to art and culture or UNESCO World Heritage Site, you also need to see the geographical side of it.
Okay.
Okay, so every day news में what जो चीजें आएगा, like whatever the map related things or place related things, whenever it
Mm.
comes, it's better
Yes.
to note them down then and there itself. Okay, and these days, Priyanka, there are various resources which you can use to make things easy. Let us say there are people
Mm.
who are using Notebook LM. Okay, it was a Google AI wherein you can dump the newspaper and ask it to point out
Summarize.
what are all
Yes.
the places that were there, and it will give the list, and you can actually, note them down. You can prepare them. It just needs some 15 minutes of time. That's it. So these
Yes.
days, AI has given a little more scope for students to prepare a lot, but still, fortunately, UPSC is the area where AI cannot, protrude, because it really requires a mentor, a human mentor
Yeah.
to guide them.
A very important question now, Maulika. I want to know your perspective in this. As you have told, like geography, we can use technology. It's not just because for maps. For everything, we can use technology. Technology can assist us right now. Before, when we are preparing, we used to search in the Google, like different websites, take the points, but that is not required right now. So,
Mm.
and first question I wanted to sort it out regarding is, many students I have observed, even my students in the mentorship, they
Mhm.
concentrate more on the places which are there in the international, like international places like sea, straits. This is what they do, and
Mhm.
they ignore rivers
Mm.
or the biodiversity in India, the
Mm.
places which are there, the hills, the
Mm.
gaps, etc., which can be asked in the exam also. So,
Mm.
what do you think? Like, focusing on both will be good, or focusing just on international places will fetch the marks? Can you tell me that?
Yeah, one thing which I want to highlight over here is that if they have the privilege of taking a mentorship program, the
Mm.
task will be upon the head of mentors,
Yeah.
and they can actually be little, they can have a little scope to give more time to the other stuff. In case if they want to prepare on their own, the thing is that they can use this Notebook LM or something. They can dump the
Mm.
international newspaper and also the national ka, Delhi ka edition, whatever their
Yes.
edition they're
Yes.
following, and they can ask it. Okay, but
Yes.
just one thing which people need to remember is that AI is the best servant. It's not a good master. Okay. So you
Yes.
should not treat it like a teacher, or you should not
Mm,
treat it like as an
mm,
ultimatum or something like that. It's a good slave, I must say. Okay, it's a
okay.
good servant rather than a good master. So you should use it like a servant itself. So if you
Yes.
rely on it, more as well, that
Over.
actually, yeah, over relying, or relying more upon AI is also something which doesn't work in UPSC. Okay, so
Yes.
you need to use that to a certain extent itself. That's it.
Yes. Okay. Here I would like to take an opportunity to say one thing that in our mentorship that
Mhm.
we are giving to the students, we are giving the places that are there in the news, the geography, the IR related places, or the environment related places where they can focus on, which saves a lot of time. And as the discussion prolonged on to using AI, I would like to say there are many students who are getting confused, like there is AI. What is the use of a mentor? We will just plan our, we'll just plan a day or plan a week by ourselves, and whatever doubt is there we'll give it to AI, and even if that gives the questions and also even that corrects our answers.
Mhm.
But I would like to say that AI can assist you, but it cannot guide you where you are doing a mistake.
That's good.
And it is also, maybe it can generate you some questions, but they should be relevant to the exam, and that will be only done by a mentor. And moreover, AI evaluation is still in the evolving stage, and moreover,
Mm.
even if it evaluates, it cannot give you a concrete guidance what you need to include in your answers. So I don't
Yes.
think AI will entirely take over the place of a mentor or a teacher. It can solve the doubts per se every day, even the minutest doubts that you get. It's just like a Google where you can uh, get the solutions in a better way compared to the Google. But apart from that, overall preparation, our mentorship, maybe the students will take some time to formally ask their questions. So I'm going to share certain questions of polity about how to basically solve these questions here. Consider the following statements with reference to the role of president in relation to union ministers. So the role of president, the role of prime minister, cabinet, the committees, these are the basic static questions that we always can expect in the question paper, especially the polity question paper. The weightage can be over 13 to 15 questions every year. Sometimes it can be more as well on an average, I'm talking. So we need to give as much important to the static subject compared to what we have got as current affair also. So there is both static plus analytical questions, both in this one, like both in one question. So we need to have a multi-pronged approach for prelims, like for especially the polity prelims. We can't ignore the static part. So the advice is students going through the static syllabus from now, at least they need to do 3 to 4 times a basic revision of Lakshmikant, which is the static source for the prelims exam in case of polity. So when it comes to this question, the role of president in relation to union ministers, the basic the chapter of president first talks about Article 74 and Article 75, where it talks about the president is is functioning on the aid and advice of council of ministers. Always there exists council of ministers, and council of ministers or union ministers are appointed by the president on the basis of the advice by the prime minister. So union ministers president, which is chapter 5, which falls under Unit 5 falls under Union Executive. These are part of Union Executive. So president is constitutionally bound to appoint union ministers only on the advice of prime minister. Yes, he is bound constitutionally to appoint union ministers on the advice of prime minister. Okay, so he cannot do the appointment of union ministers on his own. And in extreme circumstances, we can see there is situational discretion for the president. Whenever there is no majority in the parliament, when there is no prime minister, when there is no the prime minister is not alive, at that point of time, president will get the discretionary powers based on situation, but he does not have constitutional discretion in appointing union ministers. The constitutional discretion is only when, in the case of reserving the bills, and mostly that also happens on the advice of Council of Ministers. And moreover, he can, he, and moreover, even in pardoning powers, he also will act on the advice of the union ministers or council of ministers. Apart from that, most of the things whatever he must do on the aid and advice of council of ministers. The president may independently refuse to administer the oath of office to a person recommended by prime minister as a minister. See, students, whenever these kind of situation based statements are given, like in this situation, president can act like this. Find an instance whether did you see this kind of thing in the examples, under any example while you are listening the class, or in the Lakshmikant book. Is there any situation that is very particular like this mentioned in the book? If that is not the case, even if you don't know something, you can eliminate the option. See, it is just the you don't need to mug up every single point present in the chapter. You just need to know whether this kind of situation mentioned in the book in some or the other way. Did you have at least a nascent memory of reading something like this? That will finish off eliminating a option 90% in the shortest point of time. So president may independently refuse. President cannot do anything independently. He should act mostly on the aid and advice of council of ministers, except in few instances. So how can he can refuse to administer the oath of a office to a person recommended by prime minister? He cannot refuse. He needs to administer the oath. And especially in the case of oaths of office, we have never read something in the Lakshmikant that president can refuse. So this kind of questions, it's not factual based, these are analytical based. Factual base can be simply president will appoint council of ministers, that we already read, that is a fact. But this is analysis. This analysis also is also depend on the facts that you have read in the Lakshmikant before, and it is very easy to link the question with the facts that you have already read and eliminate some of the options. That is what I wanted to say. So nothing, no question is like only purely static or purely analytical. It is mix of both. So use both the things while answering the question. This might be the simple question, but as soon as you do the PYQs, you will get to know at least two or three options. You will be in a situation for every question you can solve one or two options very easily if you do the PYQs. Okay, so the oaths of office and secrecy to union ministers are administered by the president. That is correct. The oaths are always administered by the president. If not, if president is not there, then the vice president will be on the picture. The discretionary powers of the president extend to ministerial appointments during normal constitutional functioning. Pretty much the second option and fourth option are almost the same. There is no discretion for president to appoint someone as he likes. He needs to always follow the aid and advice of prime minister upon upon uh, upon instituting the council of ministers and administering their oaths. And after council of ministers coming into picture, they are the ones who will be advising the president, and almost all the matters will be advised by the council of ministers to the president in the day to day business. And we know that president is the nominal executive. We know that he is nominal executive as a part of parliamentary system of governance. He is not the real executive. And we know that all the union ministers have collective responsibility towards the parliament. So because being in the presidential system, he needs to act on the advice of real executive headed by the prime minister. We know simply when we connect different concepts into picture, we can easily answer the questions, whether it is president, ministers, or whether it is supreme court or high court. Basic themes of the parliamentary system, the judiciary system, if we know most of the answers, we can get right. We don't need to remember each and every article. Also, it's not purely factual exam like groups etc for students to mug up more articles. Okay, so this is the first question, and this is how basically you can answer the questions. So I would like to see if any students will ask doubts regarding answering the prelims questions, or I would like to ask Maulika ma'am if she can contribute anything regarding the polity questions.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Priyanka. The questions are not purely analytical. They're not purely static also. There was something which UPSC expects is they are actually expecting you to act, think like an officer, not like a student who is or aspiring for civil services. So that's the reason if you look at the questions in the last few years, polity questions have become more technical in nature. Okay, here I also want to add upon a point that irrespective of all the material that you had, if you read Lakshmikant, if you attend classes also,
Yeah.
again, I'm coming to the same original point, that is the analysis part which we need to do on PYQs. Like what sort of questions that UPSC is asking, what sort of traps it is actually setting, because somebody who just reads Lakshmikant once or twice, it might be a difficult task them to identify that smaller twists or smaller things which UPSC arranges there in the statements, which somehow appears like correct statement itself.
Yes, yes.
है ना? So that's like a very sensitive trap which students usually fall in, and that's what brings them, chaos of not clearing the prelims, feeling depressed, etc. and all.
And
So,
also, Maulika, I feel like nowadays the UPSCs before few years, people used to eliminate the answers based on one and
hmm.
only. That kind of that kind of questions are gone. There is no
Yeah, because
elimination right now.
UPSC, there was a saying UPSC have eliminated the elimination technique
Yes,
with the help of
eliminated the
options.
elimination technique. Before we were given a long list of cheat
Exactly.
codes how to eliminate the options. Now there is nothing. You need to always bank upon what you have read and
True.
connect it to
True.
the present.
Even geographical questions, you'll be surprised to see that geographical questions, UPSC is framing straight from the NCRT, word to word.
Yeah.
Okay, but the problem is that even though it was there, options may they are twisting. Okay, so it means what, a pure knowledge of geography is required for you to answer it. Even if you read NCRT, you might feel familiar with the wordings because you will feel कि yeah, ये तो NCRT से निकाल के दिया है. Okay, that's what they will feel. But still, the analysis part if they're missing, na, so that would be something which they need to add to their preparation. Okay. And I think under the GS mentorship program that we were conducting, the main agenda is that. The main agenda is to make
Yes.
students feel ease with respect to their preparation.
Yes.
Okay. The weekly plans that we are having, I guess. So, under the weekly plans, actually, guys, under the weekly plans, Priyanka ma'am will give you a week schedule. Let us say
Yes.
this week you are having polity as a schedule. Then, along with the weekly plan, she'll also let you know what are all the focus areas in that chapter, because every chapter is not important. है ना? Because there are some key chapters from which UPSC tries to ask more questions. Again, this is simple psychology if you see. Let us
Yes.
say, if I want to test the knowledge of geography, definitely I would go with asking questions from climatology. Okay. Because that's where the pulse of geography is, and that's where I can test whether you're really, having some knowledge with respect to geography or not. But similarly, if you ask me what sort of questions that come from economy, probably I may not be a right person. That's what I'm telling you. For every single subject, you require an expertise. You require a someone who you need to whom you need to follow and whom you need to rely upon, so that they'll guide you ki which chapter should be focused more, which chapter should be given less importance, etc. And Priyanka, here I want to add another point also. People who prepare for UPSC, even after, see, I'm talking about the persons who already have taken a general studies foundation course. Okay. So 1 year का course के बाद what they start thinking is that, yeah, coaching तो हो गया, अब मेरा part है, अभी मैं prepare करना है, now I have to prepare, now I have to, give some time, एक schedule बनेगा, 1 month में polity होगा, next month will be economy, I'll write some test series, etc. But this will not work because consistency will not be there. If you take 100 students, the consistency percent would be less. And another thing, Priyanka, here, if I taking one particular subject, reading for 1 month, writing tests and all, etc., like that, if I'm doing also, there won't be any motivation for me to understand
Yes.
whether I'm growing or not, whether I'm
Yes.
proceeding forward, and is there any growth in my preparation part. Am I going in a right path? Such questions, because UPSC, Priyanka, I must say it's unfortunate. It's not just a field of intellectuality or field of knowledge, etc. It is also a field where you need to stay psychologically strong, mentally strong enough to face the things, to stay consistent, to stay patient,
Yes.
etc.
Yes. Yes.
And in that regards
Even,
also, mentorship is very much necessary,
yeah.
Priyanka, because mentor
Even,
will give you that strength ki, yeah, you can go, yeah, you can do it, please don't worry about the other subjects, I will plan it accordingly, because mentor knows which subject should be prepared at what particular time. Let us
yes.
say I'm a person who cannot remember facts, Priyanka. I cannot remember facts. If it is a content, if there is any logic, I can remember it forever. Okay, so for me, kind of people or students of that particular sort, if you say, there we need to more focus upon subjects like economy, subjects like polity, geography first, and in the end, you need to go with art and culture like things, facts like things, etc. And that is, of course, in the market we have compilations, and we can actually rely upon them. But there are students who can easily remember the facts and fail to understand the content. And for them, a different kind of customization is required. Okay.
Yes,
So,
Molly.
yeah, to understand the
There
PYQs is simple term, but there are various branches
are
of
various
it:
things.
psychological strength,
Yes. Yes.
consistency, mentor planning, arranging the subjects,
So,
and
yeah, mentor is like a therapist. So you can go with any problem there. See, there are many students who are part of the mentorship. They are writing the tests. They are writing the test. They know the score, but still they were in the position like in the January
Hmm.
2026. We should write. We don't know in
एग्जाम
which
देना है
position
या
we
नहीं
are.
देना है, shall I apply or
Shall I
not?
apply or not?
Yeah,
Shall
yeah,
I
true,
write
true.
it or not? I will apply because there is there is no disadvantage in that right now. So they'll apply, but they should give it or not this year. What is the level of preparation? can I able to give, can I finish it
Mm.
off within 4 or 5 months, what should be my approach for a revision. See, this is where the mentorship actually helps you a lot. This is your deciding point. This 5 months, the if a student is very if a student can able to dedicate his time and consistency, and if he really needs some support, psychological support, emotional support, and also the support in listing out the topics which can be important, which can come in the exam, how to
Exactly.
approach a
True.
particular
True.
subject,
True. True.
what
True.
chapters to read in a subject, what kind of strategy need to be there for for every subject, and time period is very very important. Some students can invest a lot of time just reading geography or just reading economy 1 month. That so limiting yourself a subject for a particular time period will actually make a student to be on his toes. If there is no mentor, no one will be tracking your progress, no
Yes.
one will be guiding you, there is no other time, you
There
have to do
won't be
something other
accountability,
subject.
Priyanka. That's what is the problem.
Yes.
है ना? Self preparation. So, see, if you look at the YouTube channels, or there are many people says that, see, मैं तो self preparation ही कर दिया. I have did it all on my
Yeah.
own. But here is that nobody tells the actual secret behind their success, Priyanka. Even if they share it as well, you cannot really understand what they actually did, but because you're not sitting beside them,
Yeah.
understanding what are the things they are following. Probably they may not have a mentor, but they must have a person behind them, like their mother or father or
Yes.
brother, somebody who
Doing all the
continuously
work.
guides them to stay consistent. Okay.
Saving time is more important. Saving time is the
Yeah.
best thing that you can do in the preparation. Most of the students waste a lot of time in collecting the material itself. So in the
That is another
mentorship,
problem. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
True.
in the mentorship, subject wise, we will collect the material. What kind of reports you need to study, what is in the news, what are the present things, or what can be the most important topics in a particular subject. This is what we are going to do.
Yeah,
All
focused
of
areas we can actually,
yes,
list them, list it for them. Yeah,
whatever the time they have, they can invest that in the just revising. And moreover, most of the students just ignore CSAT.
true, true. That's very true.
So
Because there are many failures due to CSAT itself. है ना? We have seen such people as well. Yeah, Priyanka, here I want to add another point. Because it is 2026 ka exam is coming, and just to give an example of how analysis we will do in mentorship, I just want to discuss a small thing here. See, agar if you look at last year's 2024 ka geography paper, it was the first time that geography questions were little more. In fact, it was like it was like a easiest paper for geography optional students. It's like a boon for them. Okay, okay. Now, similar trends have been observed in 2025 as well. Okay, but it's not the number of questions that we need to focus upon. It's more about how the questions are being asked. Okay, and there are repetitions also in a very tricky manner. Okay, and this time my projections are last time modern history ka question were little moderate, and this time I'm expecting, or I'm projecting that modern history ka part thoda sa tough hoga. And last time there were more current affairs ka questions. Okay, I have seen various analysis and all. Somewhere in the Hindu newspaper, in the corner, one day I have, there was a topic regarding wet bulb temperature. I don't think anyone will either focus on it. And there was a question straight. The same question appeared in the prelims. So last year ka paper is more current affair oriented. So this time, my projections and most of the people who are experts in the UPSC, they are projecting that this time paper would be more static. So focusing on NCRTs, focusing on PYQs is everything to do today. And the another important thing is, it was a good thing for people who are attempting for the first time or second timers, etc. Because this time the competition would be little less because you don't have people who are already there in services to give
Yeah,
examination.
yeah, true.
So I think
Com-
2024 5 ka aspirants can, selected candidates can give this year itself. And 27 maybe, if they are selected in 2026, they can have only immediate attempt. Okay, so that was another, good decision that UPSC have taken. And this moment is something which you need to
this
capture.
they
This
can do it.
advantage they need to
Yes.
capture. How can they capture the advantage? They need to prop see, instead of now working hard 100% on your own, work hard at least 70-80%, joining a mentorship, because the 30% would be taken over by mentor. And that really works this time, because the notification ka post, if you look at the the new rules that UPSC have given, etc., that
Mm.
actually gives some advantage to students who are preparing for the first time or giving the second attempt or third attempt, like that, who are not into the services. So
As
yeah,
you have spoken regarding this people who
year
are
ka
already in
projections.
the, yes, services are not eligible right now, and I think that factor will be helping not in prelims but in mains, and that brings us to talk about mains also.
Yes.
Mains is the most important area where mentorship need to be there, where a mentor need to guide a student in how to write answers in each GS paper, whether it is essay, ethics, how to approach it, what sources need to be there. Once a student passes his prelims exam, on the day one of finishing the exam, he'll know whether he'll be in or not.
Yeah.
Ifs and buts
So
can be there, but he will maximum know. And some people will always be on the edge. They'll be having lot of anxiousness about how to go with the answer writing because they got a gap of preparing for prelims. They might have practiced the answer writing in December the other year. So mentorship helps you to reduce that anxiety first and to go with the revision of a subject and then to attempt answers and also how to improve the answer writing thing, so it needs
So,
to
do we
be.
have any mains question now to discuss, Priyanka? Because you have discussed the analysis of prelims part. That is really a good analysis. So, shall we go with some mains question as well this time?
Yes, Maulika, feel like we can discuss geography question. What do you say?
Yeah, sure, sure, sure. So, yeah, but when it comes to mains part, Priyanka, as you said, that anxiety, because focusing more upon the last 3 months में prelims का ही focus होगा उसको, okay? They'll more give attention to objective, collecting the facts. Their brain is used to look into the things in a more analytical manner, wherein they have the options in front of them, they'll eliminate it, they'll pick up the right option. So such kind of mentality gets set. And here, when it comes to mains, it's altogether a different story. And I usually say people ki prelims is all about knowing everything about something. Like if you consider cyclone, everything about cyclone is required for prelims. Okay, that means how will the cyclone is formed, what are the conditions, what are the different names of cyclones, what is the recent like cyclone that appeared, how the destruction happened, what is the disaster response with respect that everything about cyclone is important for prelims. Wherein mains is a different approach. Mains का approach क्या होता है? It is knowing something about everything. No, the difference is that knowing something about everything means if you look at the syllabus of mains, you should have at least some content pre-prepared with respect to that part. Let us say अगर mains का question आया cyclone का, the question would be content specific. For example, they cannot ask everything about the cyclone to write under 250 words. They might ask you regarding how a cyclone is formed, what are the general conditions for the formation of cyclones, or they might ask you why cyclones are actually more only in the tropical region. Why
Yes.
can't cyclones, why can't cyclones form in the other region? If they are formed, what are different type of cyclones that we have? Temperate ka cyclones forms due to air masses. Tropical ka
Yes.
cyclone formed due to changes in the sea level temperature and all. So UPSC might ask you, it means what? अगर cyclone का topic if you are picking for mains, you should know something about cyclones. Something
Yes.
मतलब what
What
generally,
are the
what
basic
basic. Yeah,
conditions?
cyclones में दो types का होगा. One is
Temperate
tropical,
and
one is
tropical.
temperate. Then tropical का conditions क्या
Differences.
है, temperate का conditions क्या है. Now, okay, fine, cyclone is happening. What happens if cyclone comes? What is the impact on us?
Hmm.
Like, is it
Yeah.
giving winter rainfall, like western disturbances, or is it giving, disasters like it was in the Odisha case, etc., during tropical cyclones? So that much is sufficient. But
I
here, the
feel
art is something which is important to write an answer, to present an answer. Yeah, please go on. Yes, it's
I
something.
feel, Maulika, the cyclone part is the static thing. Students need to have basic points regarding impact, the causes of cyclone, what are different types of cyclone that are there. But UPSC, based on the present situations, linking it with the current, why intensity of cyclones is increasing, especially
Hmm,
on the Arabian side, why cyclones are forming compared
exactly.
to that of Bay of Bengal. That is a recent trend. But
True.
50% of the answer, whichever you write, you are writing from the static syllabus itself. But
Yeah,
the
that's what
analysis
I
part,
say. Pre-prepared content is necessary,
yes,
Priyanka, which
yes.
we are doing in the mentorship. Mentorship may we are actually preparing a pre-prepared content, guys. So what we do is that for all the PYQs, inherently you need not to work a lot. There is already a pre-prepared content, and you need to study this content. You should reflect more. Study less, reflect more. Ka tarika is what we will teach you in this mentorship session. है ना, Priyanka?
Yes, yes, Monica. Yes. So, on that note, I just want to add one more thing regarding mains answer writing. See, students, especially with respect to mains answer writing, as Maulika ma'am told, content we need to have. Okay. With respect to every topic that is present in the main syllabus, you need to see the syllabus and you need to fetch the basic basic content for every topic, and you can use that content wherever you need in your answers. And it is GS, it means that you need to add multiple dimensions. One can be political dimension, economic dimension you can add. That is why it is called GS answers. Okay, they are very generalistic answers. You can use economic perspective also in the polity, but it should be polity oriented. Except that for every subject, if we see, for example, let us say I have taken economy question. Here Indian agriculture remain heavily input intensive and ecologically stressed. Examine the challenges in shifting towards climate resilient and sustainable farming systems. This is the question given. So, I think most of the students know what are the problems in agriculture. They know the problems, they know it is uh, heavily input intensive, but what inputs they are, like fertilizers, seeds, these are the inputs most of the farmers use. Ecologically stressed, why? Because there is no organic farming, and there is a lot of soil acidification, these kind of problems because of climate change. So you need to list out the problems of Indian agriculture in first part of the question. You need to divide the question into multiple parts. First, answer the first part with the introduction and also list out all the problems. Then go to the second part of the question, like examining the challenges shifting towards climate resilient. Why we can't shift towards climate resilient agriculture? Because it is costly, because it requires new research and development with respect to agriculture, and there is a problem of productivity, there is a problem of lack of double income for the farmers. We are thinking about increasing the or doubling the income of the farmers. So if we suddenly shift away from one part to another part, because already we have invested a lot in the green agriculture, sorry, in the green revolution. Now if we focus on climate resilient agriculture, there should be lot of biofertilizers, there should be lot of systems that needs to be in the place with respect to biocomposting, using better fertilizers, using manure for the soil. So these are the basic challenges that we can get in moving towards the climate resilient agriculture. On the other hand, government is talking about shifting the green revolution to the northeastern areas are not under green revolution. So there are lot of intra-regional disparities and interstate disparities that exist, and these are the ones that are actually creating challenge for sustainable farming systems. And moreover, our farmers are not entirely dependent on msp problems. You can write like, we give msp for the only rice and wheat and sugarcane, which are water intensive. So how can we shift towards the pulses, how we can shift towards the millets? So there should be dedicated programs, there should be dedicated programs for pulses and millets that actually increases the productivity of the soil. So every student, when they are studying a topic, be it agriculture, be it industry or the services, be it any topic, let it be cyclones only, they need to understand why these are for, they need to understand the basic concept, and they need to identify the problems in that, identify how we are managing the cyclones also. They need to have that perspective also, even if the question is asked or not asked regarding how to manage the cyclones, because in the conclusion they can add a point like, we need to better manage it, or there is some technology to predict the cyclones. There is IMD using radio weather dopplers in order to predict the cyclone or cyclone evacuation. You can include that as one point in the answers. So what I would like to say is, whenever student is there in the mentorship, suppose they are reading a topic, don't just read the topic only in the geographic perspective. Have a understanding or basic points regarding disaster management also, because as we are approaching gs papers, everything is interrelated. It is not just purely you will read economic side, read environmental perspectives also while going for sustainable farming systems. Is there any scheme, is there any program for sustainable farming system in the environment by the Ministry of Environment? You can include that also in the answer. Okay, so it is holistic. It is, suppose if you miss some points in your notes while preparing, a mentor will let you know what schemes are available, what schemes are there before 2 years, how government have changed their schemes. So using the schemes also, a person can write the answer. And in the mains also, there is always a trend. The UPSC can ask you one particular scheme in the news, and they can ask you to identify what is its usefulness or what are its drawbacks. So always approaching a topic need to be holistic, and that cannot come on individual basis. Only students who have wasted a lot of time, or who didn't qualify once prelims or mains, they have an ample lot of time. By that time they might have understood lot of errors in their preparation already, their revision might have finished, they'll have time to gather all the things into one place. And mentorship, what it will do is, it will save that time for you. You don't need to do two attempts, three attempts, then realize, okay, I need to collect all the material at one place. Mentorship does the same thing to you, and it will save your attempts. Okay, so that is what I wanted to say regarding mains preparation. In the mentorship, we had a program of how you will write the answer and how we will evaluate. Before telling that, I would like Maulika ma'am to speak regarding the same.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct, Priyanka. It was multidimensional approach which we need to focus upon, and yeah, it is really a tough task because when we were in the preparation, when I was giving my attempts also, everywhere people used to say ki I have used data, I have used schemes and programs, I have used different dimensions, Pesel dimensions, which is very much common these days. But arranging our notes in that particular way is a very difficult task, and it is time taking also, very much true.
Yes, yes.
Because for every single thing I cannot search in Google or
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
sites what are the schemes that were related, and it is highly practically, it is a tough task to do. You need to spend time. Okay,
You
and
need to
yeah,
figure
that's
it.
where mentorship helps us. Yeah.
Yes, yes. There is support for you. There will be support for you holistically. You don't need to figure out everything on your own and waste a lot of time in this process.
And guys, we're also actually trying to prepare some frameworks as well. Okay, wherein you can use them to write any given answer from the topic. Let us say cyclone ka topic if you are taking framework, we will be making. What is it? Cyclone kya hota hai? Different types of cyclones, conditions, their applicability, disaster management. So this is a complete framework of cyclones. Now you go back and check any question from cyclone. Okay, it will not go beyond this particular framework that we have made. Yeah. So such kind of frameworks for every topic you need to do, practically not possible if you do it on your own, but if you have a mentor, things will become easier for you. Okay, and because firstly you should be aware कि cyclones दो तरीके होता है, and this is how UPSC asked the PYQs, and this is how it can ask later. Because straight away it cannot repeat the same question. Yes, there are instances of repetitions also. Okay, but in general, if it was repeated, no problem. But you need to also know what was the topic, what is the PYQ asked, what can be asked in the future, and these are all the things which we do in the mentorship.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So as I said, yeah, like analysis of PYQs ka another branch hai. This is the thing, the framework that we need to make, the multi-dimensional approach that we need to have for your mains part.
Thank you, Maulika. So, before explaining the exact program and details of mentorship, students, if they have any doubts, if they want to ask regarding mentorship, can ask.
So we have Pravalika and also Saranya here. See, you have a scope to talk to us. Just unmute yourself and just ask what is the expectation that you're having. Because when you're attending a program, when you're spending some time here, sitting in the mentorship orientation session, you need to take something from this program, है ना? Something from this particular half an hour, 1 hour of time that you spend. So just let us know what are the expectations that you're having. Saranya, can you unmute yourself and just talk? You need not to hesitate because you're future officers. All
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Please continue, Priyanka. You were actually about to say about some aspects of today.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the coming prelims exam, and also I will discuss about the mentorship that we have at SOSAN IAS Academy and how students can enroll and what benefits they get. That is the overview of the program generally that we do in the institute. So first, let me go walk you through the prelims exam. It is just 98 days left from now. So a quick overview for the students appearing for the prelims exam. So you need to study at least 6 to 8 hours. Whoever are working professionals, at least they need to put 5 to 6 hours. If not that, you can read more hours. At least there should be a preparation of 10 hours. But on an average, minimum 6 to 8 hours is needed for the prelims exam. And the revision part, you need to focus on the weightage of the subject and your drawbacks, in which subjects you are strong, in which subjects you are weak. Based on that, you need to strategize your preparation. You need to divide your days, and you need to, in the same day, while reading polity or economy, you need to solve daily 50 questions. 50 to 70 is fine, but at least 50 is the minimum. Then you will get to know what mistakes you are doing in the so in solving the paper. It is not just revision and going to the exam. Solving the paper is a skill, and that you will get only when you solve the mock tests. In mentorship there will be mock tests, and there are prelims test series also at the institute. You can enroll them, you can solve as many tests as possible before your exam. Okay, so there is the weightage that is given. As you already know, the CSAT is qualifying mark, but that does not mean the students who are writing now the exam 2026, by now you should be starting your CSAT preparation. Every day 1 hour, solve the CSAT questions, and don't solve the questions just by looking at the source book or RS Agarwal. See the previous year paper, understand uh, the difficulty level of the CSAT question, and according to that prepare your CSAT. Don't just prepare by using a book. Prepare your questions or CSAT based on the previous years. Okay, so economy, science and tech, polity, geography, environment, history, these are the major subjects, and their weightage is also little fluctuating, but almost geography have nearly 10 to 15 questions, and science and tech questions are reducing now. There are nearly 7 to 8 questions. General questions, uh, we can add one or two. Overall science and tech, there are 7 to 8 questions that are being asked. And moreover, you need to focus on environment, that comes under geography itself. But environment purely they are asking 10 questions, and geography related environment questions nearly over 5 to 6 questions they are asking. So 16 questions on an average will come from environment. So you need to give this subject a due importance. That is what I feel. At least even if polity is tough, economy is tough, you will not just concentrate on this history, economy, polity. Concentrate on environment also. It will fetch a lot of marks for you. That is what I wanted to say. And revise as much as possible for the prelims exam. So first 30 to 35 days, finish the pending topics, finish your revision, do the CSAT, and also solve the MCQs. Take the topic wise test. There are booklets that will be available in the market. Take it and do that. Intense revision starts from March ending to April, entire April month. It should be like in a week. In a week, you should be able to revise. Not in a week, within 3 to 4 days you should able to finish the revision of a particular subject. You should be at that level, and your focus should be on solving as many tests as possible. And weekly, right now, every day, if you are solving 50 questions weekly, attempt a full length test and solve it on a Sunday, and see that solving does not mean randomly solving a question and seeing the answer. Attempt like a exam. Sit in a proper exam environment and do it, so that you will be habituated to the exam environment. You will not have another extra. Many of the students say exam environment is not good, so I couldn't focus on the prelims exam. These all things will get eliminated if you do this kind of practices in the from the March onwards, March ending onwards. And phase 3, it is entirely May. Just focus on attempting the questions, solving the CSAT, try to solve as many questions as possible. Put revisions, multiple revisions, 2 days. Write a short notes in your second revision or first revision regarding articles, the topics which you will forget, the topics which are confusing, be it the modern history or the writers in the modern history, governor generals. Write a short notes from now on, and you can use that papers, or you can use that short notes in the final time of your revision. You can't go through entire modern history spectrum by sitting there and finish it and within 2 days you cannot finish it off. You just need to see the main points where you are always making the mistake, and that is what finishes that is what you will do in the last few days of May, and that is how you can score maximum marks for the prelims exam. So that is it regarding prelims. And with respect to the sources, the sources, maps, etc., you can see the prelims compass. in the SOSIN IAS website, there is Prelims Compass that is available, and there we are putting the summaries, we are putting the global reports, the important schemes of ministry wise important schemes that are there from 2025 onwards. We are concising in a particular material, and you don't need to go to different places in order to do your revision. So use that resources properly. Okay, so that is Prelims Compass and in the website. So these are the sources that you already know. Right now, I advise students to basically do as many tests as possible. So answer strategy is try to, in the mock test only, try to solve more than 65 questions. Minimum 65 questions need to be accurate for a student to think of passing the prelims exam. If you are attempting 70 questions with utmost accuracy, you will be in the race. Don't attempt 85 questions with less accuracy. So try to use the elimination tech, try to attempt only 50 to 70 questions. If you are wary about your preparation, if you are doubtful about the preparation, leave the doubtful questions. You don't need to attempt for the sake of attempting, because there is negative marking also. So if you attempt 70 questions with utmost accuracy, most of you can get into the examination. See the negative marking, do the intelligent guessing, and focus on new kind of questions also, like assertion, reasoning, multiple statements. See the previous year questions, so you will get to know the new pattern of questions also, so that it will not be a shock for you. Try to attempt multiple variety of questions. Even in the prelims test series, in the SOSN test series, we have a question paper giving different variety of questions that can be asked in the prelims exam tomorrow. That pattern can be asked. So there are variety of questions, so focus on not just only one type of questions like multiple statements. Okay, focus on match the following questions, three column statement wise questions. So you will not be surprised in the examination as much as you do the practice. So these are the basic points. And there are high yielding topics also, topic wise: polity, fundamental rights, DPSPs, executive, parliamentary procedures. This is where the static questions will come. So invest a lot of time on this in your polity preparation. Geography, as ma'am told you, Maulika ma'am, she told climatology. Climatology plays a very important part. I have seen a lot of students focusing on just reports, only fetching all the reports, reading the reports for 3 days like that. Don't invest the time just because it is a separate or it is a new thing, it is asked in the last year, so I'll invest 4 days on one particular question, one particular pattern of question. That is not how you do it. See what will make you, what will make you within less time, how you can maximize your score. Don't just invest the time, see your return on investment. So environment, biodiversity, hotspots, these kind of questions can be confusing, but conventions, protected areas, climate change targets, these are the focus for environment. So try to read as many current affairs as possible for environment. But you need to have good hold over static also, like wetland questions are coming in the environment subject. So focus on that. Economy, see the budget, the economic surveys, RBI, monetary policy, foreign exchange. These are the topics from where most of the questions come. So prepare your revision in this manner. How within less time, how many topics you can finish, whether all those topics are there in the PYQs, and how you can remember it fast, and how you can jot it down for your final revision. This is what the basic strategies. I'm not telling about personalized strategies for every student based on their strength and weakness. The basic flow should be this thing. So attempt the test, integrate your current affairs, do the newspaper reading till the last week of your uh, prelims exam, May 24, and revise as much as possible for the exam. So don't neglect health and sleep before the prelims exam, and don't rely on a particular material, or don't go for multiple materials also. Do as many mock tests as possible. So I would like to make Maulika ma'am add on to this.
Yeah, as you said, this is how the realistic plan should be, Priyanka. But of course, people who are there in our mentorship program already, people who are giving prelims this year, 2026 ka prelims, our mentorship students will definitely have these particular things, will definitely can do all these things with ease, because we have been supporting them from last few months and all, and you being the mentor was doing huge lot of hard work to make things easy for them. And here, as Priyanka ma'am said, these are the things that you need to follow. And here, guys, what our mentor, did differently is that here there is consistency over intensity. That is the main important thing that you get in the mentorship program. And if you ask the students also, the feedback of the students was really good. Okay. And another important thing is that, as we were discussing about CSAT as well, no, do not neglect it. And please remember this: instead of writing any tests of CSAT from test series, first do solve the PYQs. Okay, because in CSAT, most challenging part is quantitative aptitude and reasoning for people. Whereas comprehension, if you look at now, most of the people rely on comprehension to clear CSAT. But how to nail that comprehension? Again, PYQs may. If you look at the comprehension, you solve it. Look at the key of UPSC, the original key of UPSC, then you'll understand how UPSC is interpreting the things, how UPSC's perspective is with respect to that comprehension. And my sincere advice is to avoid assumption based questions in comprehension. Okay, if there is a question asking about inference or asking about crux, better go with it. Assumptions ka questions usually, they'll drag us to pick up the wrong answer. If you are, if you have that command over that assumption questions, do practice the PYQs first. Then itself you can understand how UPSC can give you questions. And CSAT is a very important part. Although you prepare well, you get good score in GS, CSAT is something which pulls you back. I have seen many students who are struggling with CSAT as well. So that is the thing that I want to add here.
Thank you, Maulika. Thank you, Maulika, ma'am. So, yeah. So, power of PYQs, whether it is prelims or mains, it is already well known for all the students. Include right now the PYQs. Don't just wait for I'll finish the subject and then you will go for PYQs. That is a wrong strategy. That is a common mistake most of the students do. Be consistent. Don't just read 12 hours one day and sleep for the other day. Every day, be consistent. Like, follow the discipline and select the topics. Every subject, select the themes which are asked in the PYQs and focus on that. So see the mock test also and have the mental resilience before the exam. Don't be anxious. So this only you can do when you strategize and prepare your plan accordingly. So at Sosan IAS, we have mentorship program that will be starting every week. Whichever situation you are, if you are even trying to attempt the prelims exam, you can enroll right now. The focus for few months before the prelims exam will be based on only prelims, and you can use your mentorship program after the prelims exam to align with, even if you pass the prelims exam, or even if you didn't use that, even if you didn't pass the prelims exam, you can use that mentorship program to further prepare for your mains. So it is always tailor made. It is not like only for prelims. Now the prelims exam is coming, so let me join the mentorship after the prelims is over based on my prelim score. That is not how you do it. You can use your mentorship program throughout your preparation once you take it. That is what I wanted to say. The program details will be available on the website, and you can reach out to us, and there will be one on one sessions where you can tell your problems, tell your doubts, and we can prepare a personalized strategy for you, whichever stage you are, whether you are attempting the prelims, not attempting the prelims, writing the prelims exam 2026 or 2027. It is for all the people. And this is the end of the workshop. These are the basic details. We have finished.
Yeah, that's really a very good thing that we are doing, Priyanka, because every week, if there is a new session or new, thing that gets planned, people who are even giving or trying to give the attempt of 2026 also can have an advantage to at least channelize their preparation in the coming 98 days. Okay.
Yes.
And I also add upon here, so you were talking about the maps in the first part, right? So you can use the Susan AI maps as well, guys. It was really working a lot, and it is really working good for the people who are preparing for UPSC. And me being a geography mentor have gone through that particular, thing, and it really helps you to make your mapping preparation little easy. So if you find anything, instead of taking Atlas, picking up the thing, you can use Susan AI maps. Just log on to the website. You just need to give your details, just log into that, and then utilize that Susan AI maps. And see, Priyanka, the advantage of Susan AI maps is that if we are picking a location, it is actually giving you the nearby
Yes.
important
Facts.
as map points as well. So that is one advantage with that.
So, thank you for all attending the session. Every month we will have the workshop. From the next month, we'll be having prelims focused important themes in the workshop. So, the Maulika ma'am, Sosan ma'am, I will be part of this workshop whenever it is possible. So attend the workshop so that you will get to know the trends. You will get to know the important points for the entire UPSC preparation. Thank you. Thank you, Maulika. Can we end the session?
Yeah, Priyanka. So I think it was really a productive session that we had so far. And thanks a lot, everyone. Keep asking questions, be in touch with us. Yeah, it's not that you should be a student of our program to ask questions here. If you're attending an open workshop, this open workshop is to make us, to make students who cannot approach mentorship, they can join in the free sessions. The orientation is free for all. You can share with your friends. You shouldn't be a student of Susan IS. You should be a good aspirant who is sincerely preparing for UPSC to attend the sessions. So if you couldn't able to, understand what's happening in the mentorship, in the orientation session, you can actually get to know what are the things that we plan and all. Okay. So yeah, we'll be having more sessions further. And thank you, Priyanka. Thanks for making us a part,
Thanks, Maulika.
me a part of this particular thing. Thank you.
Thank you. It's our pleasure, Maulika. Thanks.
All right, guys. So let's take a leave, and
Yes.
we'll wind up the session for today, and we'll meet again in other mentorship open session. So there we can discuss some more new things.
Thank you, everyone.